Hi there. Welcome to the After Effects User Guide. This is the introduction lesson, but before we dive in, I really just want to take a second to send a big thank you to you. And I really do mean that. Thank you so much for taking this course. My name is Mike Murphy, and I created this course to make learning After Effects as straightforward as possible. My hope is that when you finish this introductory video, you have a bit of an aha moment, or gives you a better understanding of how After Effects works, or you have a sense that that actually doesn't seem so bad, and now I'm actually really excited to jump in, learn the details, so I can finish this course and start creating on my own. You have an idea for an animation that you want to create in After Effects, so the first thing you're going to do is create a folder on your hard drive so you can keep your After Effects project organized. And to save yourself time and to keep your project workflows consistent, you have an After Effects project folder template. So every time you start a new project, all you do is just duplicate your template folder. You put the current date. You put the title of your new project. You put your template back in its safe place. And now you have yourself a new project folder with all of the subfolders, any footage that you use over and over again, ready to go. So you don't have to recreate this every time you start a new project. We have the new project folder, so the next step in the workflow is to create a new project. To create a new project in After Effects, all you have to do is simply open up the After Effects application. If you look at the very top, you can see we just opened a new untitled project. So the first thing we're going to do is save our new project in our project folder. So I'll go to the top menu, File, Save As, locate my project folder. I'm going to save it in the Project Files folder. Give your project a name. After Effects projects end in a .aep file extension. AEP stands for After Effects Project. Click Save. If you look at the very top now, you can see the title of your new project. Now we are ready to start adding footage and creating in After Effects. Footage files are stored and organized in the project panel. You're going to learn many different ways that you can import or add footage into After Effects. I'm simply going to select them from my folder and just drag them right into the project panel. The next step in the workflow is creating a new composition. You cannot work with footage or make anything in After Effects until you create a composition. You can create a composition from scratch, or you can create a composition based on the footage file information. Normally, I just click on the New Composition button. You'll learn all about the settings, but just know that compositions or pre-compositions, which are basically just nested compositions, often referred to as comps and pre-comps, they are the heart of After Effects. They're the containers, the documents where you place everything and build everything in After Effects, all done in compositions. Next up is the Layers and Timeline panel. We have a blank composition, so it's time to start designing what we want to make in After Effects. So we can drag and drop footage from our project panel directly onto our composition or on the comp window. We can also drag footage right down into the timeline. Anything that you add on the composition, a layer is automatically created. But I'm just going to select the logo. I'll drag it right onto this composition. If I hold the Shift key, it's going to snap right in the center. And once I add it, you'll see a layer is created. Now I'll select this paper texture. This time, instead of dragging it right onto the composition window, I'm going to drag it right into the Layers panel. Once I let go, you're going to see it visually in the comp window. Notice it's covering the logo. If you're familiar with Photoshop or any graphic editing software, the hierarchy or the order of the layers does matter. So all I have to do is just drag this paper texture below the logo, and now I can see it. You can zoom in and out of the comp window using the scroll wheel on your mouse. I can see by the bounding box that the paper texture is much bigger than my composition. A little trick, I'm just going to right click, I'll go to transform, I'm going to choose fit to comp. Since I know that it's the same aspect ratio, it's not going to distort that background image, so now my paper texture fits nicely on my composition. Now it's time to make things move by adding some keyframes and creating a simple animation. I'll create an animation where the logo ends up right where it is now in the center of the composition, and I'm just going to have it start at the top, just out of view of the composition window, so the logo is just going to come down and end right in the center. I'm going to drag this current time indicator, or CTI, or playhead, down the timeline, or forward in time. Now I'm going to add a keyframe. You add keyframes on properties. The most common properties are called the transform properties. Every layer has transform properties. When you see a stopwatch, that means that property can be animated. Most properties in After Effects can be animated. To add a keyframe, all you have to do is click on a stopwatch next to a property. Now I'm going to drag the CTI back to the beginning, and I'm going to move the logo to where I want it to start. Once you add one keyframe, the next movements you make are going to automatically create another keyframe. So I'm going to drag it up. You're going to see that little motion path, that little rubber band thing. If you hold the shift key, it's going to keep it in a straight line so it doesn't go left or right on me. I'm going to drag it just out of view so I can't see it, then stop. Once I let go, the second keyframe is added, and to preview this animation, I'm going to tap the spacebar. Tap the spacebar. Just like that, we created an animation. To control the speed of the animation, if you move the keyframes further apart from each other, that slows down the animation. Move the keyframes closer together, and that will speed up the animation. But the second way you can animate in After Effects is by adding snippets of code called expressions. To add expressions, you press and hold the Option key on a Mac, Alt on Windows, and then you click on a stopwatch next to a property. Then you type in the expression in the expression editor on the timeline. And I'm going to use the first expression that I ever learned, the first expression that most people learn, and it's probably the most popular expression in all of After Effects because it is so useful and so good. That is the wiggle expression. So all lowercase W-I-G-G-L-E. Open and close parentheses. I'm going to type one number, which is going to control the speed or how fast the wiggle goes. I'll put a comma, and I'll type in a second number. This is going to be how much it moves. I'll click outside. I'll bring the CTI back so we can preview the initial animation. I'll tap the spacebar. The animation stops when it gets to that second keyframe, but when you add expressions, it's going to continue all the way down the timeline. And now you can see we've got some wiggle. Next is the fun stuff, effects and presets, which is the reason most people want to learn After Effects. I'll select the logo layer. I'm going to go to the Effects and Presets panel. I'm going to do a search for one of my favorite effects, and that is the Roughen Edges effect. I'm going to select it and drag it right onto the logo. If I zoom in, you can see we've got a little grunge, a little roughened edges, which I love. Every effect is going to have different settings and different properties, but you'll typically customize effects either in the Effect Controls panel or down in the Layers panel. So the last step in a typical After Effects project before you save and close is to render and export. And that's just a fancy way of saying how do you want to prepare your composition so you can output it to a file such as a video that you can then upload or share online. You'll learn a couple different ways to render and export in After Effects. I'm just going to go to the composition menu at the top and choose Add to Render Queue. You choose the settings that you want for your outputted file. You choose where you want to export or save the file on your computer, I'm going to go into our project folder, then into the renders folder. You can give your file a name, click save. You'll click the render button to start, and no matter how many times you do this, the sound it makes when it's done is going to alarm you every time. Don't say I didn't warn you. Here we go. Told you. I'll open my project folder, go to the renders folder, and bingo. And when you want to close up shop, first you're going to save your project by going to File, Save. To close this project but keep After Effects open, I'll just go to the File menu and choose Close Project. Now I'm in a new blank untitled project. If I want to reopen a project, I can go to the File menu. I can choose Open Project, or I can go to Open Recent and choose the most recent project. I'll close that again. And to quit After Effects, I'll click on After Effects in the top menu, choose Quit After Effects, or use that keyboard shortcut Command or Control Q. You might not realize it, but you are well on your way to learning how to use After Effects, as you just watched a complete start to finish workflow of a typical After Effects project. That is what I do on every single project. And you haven't even started the class yet. I hope that was helpful, and I hope you are really excited, and we'll see you in the next lesson.